It's time for Recipe of the Day. Technically, the recipe that I'm telling you about today is Instant Pot Chicken Parmesan, except really what I think this is just lazy chicken parmesan. You do not have to do this in the Instant Pot. You can do it in a variety of ways. It is all about the laziness aspect, though. So what is lazy about this? You are not breading the chicken. Now, of course, for anything done in the Instant Pot, you wouldn't bread the chicken before cooking it because the steam and pressure in there would just not make that breading crispy, right? So if you want to do Instant Pot Chicken Parmesan, you have to have a different way of getting that crunchy breading to happen. And so what we're actually doing is cooking the chicken in the Instant Pot, then adding some sauce and cheese, and then we're adding a crispy breadcrumb topping. And that is what we're doing. And so you see what I mean? Really, you could cook the chicken however you want to, and then add the sauce, the cheese, and the topping. I'm just giving you the instructions for the Instant Pot version, and however you do it, it's going to be lazy, but it's going to be delicious. So we're starting by making the topping. You're going to do that first so that it's out of the way, and we're doing that right in the Instant Pot. So you set the Instant Pot to saute on low, and you add 1 tablespoon of olive oil to that. When it's warmed up, you add in a half cup of panko breadcrumbs, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a half teaspoon of garlic powder, and you stir those in the Instant Pot on that saute function until they're starting to darken and toast up. It's going to take about 2 to 3 minutes, and then you want to immediately transfer those crumbs to a plate so that they don't continue cooking. They will burn if they stay in there. Even if it's off the heat, they will burn and they won't be good. Then you need to wipe out the Instant Pot so that there are no crumbs remaining, and then we'll proceed with the recipe. Just set those panko breadcrumbs aside. We'll use those later. Okay, then you're pouring a cup of water into the Instant Pot, and we're essentially just cooking the chicken in there. So a cup of water goes into the Instant Pot. You put the trivet that came with your Instant Pot in there, and you're putting 8 boneless, skinless chicken thighs into the Instant Pot on the trivet. I love chicken thighs for this recipe because they're nice and juicy. If you wanted to use chicken breasts, you absolutely can. You're going to just put 4 chicken breasts in there, and they should be done in the same amount of time that the chicken thighs were going to take. But I'm going to give you a tip toward the end of explaining the cooking of this chicken that will fix it if they are not done. Okay, so you put the thighs or the breasts in a single layer on that trivet. You're sprinkling them with some Italian seasoning, 1 teaspoon total, and a half teaspoon of salt, and a half teaspoon of garlic powder, and a little bit of pepper, half teaspoon of black pepper. And then you're going to put the lid on the Instant Pot, and you set it to pressure cook on high for 10 minutes, making sure that your valve is in the sealing position. After the 10 minutes of pressure cooking, you do a natural release for 5 minutes. That means don't do anything. Then turn the valve to venting to allow the steam to escape. Take the lid off, and then take the chicken out of the Instant Pot, take the trivet out, and drain away the water. Oh, and I'm just going to say, in the off chance that your chicken was not fully cooked after that time, it really should have been. But if it's not, there's this trick I've told you about before with the Instant Pot. So if you use a thermometer and you check the temperature and it's not at 165, or if you cut into it and it's still pink inside, all you do is put the lid back in place on the Instant Pot and leave it on that keep warm setting for about 5 minutes and then check again. You could do that for all kinds of things. The heat from that keep warm setting with the lid on the Instant Pot when it just did that full big cook, that is enough to continue cooking things, even like big things like roasts. It's really, really brilliant. Okay, but we were proceeding as though the chicken was fully cooked. So we got the chicken out, the trivet out, drain away the water. You don't need that. Then you're going to put the chicken back into the Instant Pot directly in the pot now. No water, no trivet. And it's going in the bottom of the Instant pot, and you're pouring a 24-ounce jar of tomato sauce over top of that chicken, and then sprinkle on 6 ounces of mozzarella cheese that's shredded and 2 ounces of Parmesan cheese, grated Parmesan cheese. Then you're setting the Instant Pot to saute. You put the lid in place, and you're just letting it cook until the tomato sauce is hot and the cheese is melted. It's just going to be 3 or 4 minutes. Then transfer the chicken with the sauce of the cheese to your serving plates and sprinkle on those toasted panko crumbs for some nice crunch and flavor. It is going to be so good and easy. I told you this was a lazy one because you don't have to bread the chicken first. The chicken's just going straight in there, and it is so delicious. You're not going to believe it. You're never going to bread chicken again. I promise. I will put the link to this recipe in the show notes for this podcast episode, or you can head to cookthestory.com/ROTD and get it there, or find it in our Facebook group, facebook.com/groups/recipeotd. And hey, just a quick note. I'm on a recording hiatus right now, so for the next little while, I'm replaying episodes from the archives, including this one. If you heard me mention a holiday, a season, or something going on in my life that seemed a bit off, that's why. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope you're enjoying these older episodes. I am Christine Pittman from cookthestory.com, thecookful.com, cookfor2.us, and from this podcast, Recipe of the Day. I hope you have a great day. Let's get cooking.